You are watching CIOTV by Enterprise IT World, a production of Accent Infomedia.
Today, our guest is Mr. Sharad Agarwal, CDIO, JK Tires. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Agarwal. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good, and I hope the same for everyone. Let everyone be safe and healthy this year and for the coming year too.
Yes, that's all we all hope for. Mr. Agarwal, could you tell us about the size of the organization and the IT team size that you have to power the IT systems in your organization and lead the organization forward on the basis of technology?
Yeah, JK Tyre is part of the illustrious JK organization, which is about 25-30,000 crore company, and JK Tyre itself is also a 10,000 crore plus company. We would be having 10,000 plus employees, and the IT team in-house, outsourced, etc. If we combine all of them together, would be around 50 to 70 people in our team.
All right. So 50 to 70 team is quite a big one, and so surprised actually, given the way the last couple of years have played out. Now, coming back to the situation we are in, we're still in the pandemic, and now with Omicron around the corner, what is your preparedness for hybrid work or any of that eventuality? We want to try to understand, what is happening in your workplace now, because we had started going back to work. So are you prepared for any eventuality? Because we're seeing lockdowns being announced abroad.
Yeah, everybody would ever, even the thought of having another lockdown, which may be around the corner, means let's keep our fingers crossed. If it is required for the health of everyone, let it be there. But yes, as an organization, we are prepared. Rather, we got prepared last year. Last year in March, somehow our group had a feel that something ominous is coming down the way. So we had a team of 100 plus people who were just planning what to do in case something, because we were not thinking of lockdown then. Lockdowns were happening outside India. But we prepared ourselves since then, and we have a model of hybrid working in place already. Though being a manufacturing organization, we currently are working full steam. All of the employees are coming, because in manufacturing you can let the people from head office or other offices still work outside the office, but in plants you need to be there physically. So we got prepared in anticipation of the eventuality, and that worked out very well. And even if it comes to that lockdown again, we are well prepared by having provided devices, work from home environment, connectivity, security, cyber security, every sort of thing is in place. And but if it comes, it would certainly have a negative impact on the economics, on the overall company health.
Okay.
So that's why I'm wishing let it not be.
Yeah. So we'll discuss that as well. But at this point of time, are you in a hybrid work mode? Are you in back to work mode? Because so far there is no lockdown, and we really want to understand what's the situation like in manufacturing facilities as well.
No, we have been back to work 100% since couple of months. And even during the lockdown period, because Tyre forms a part of the essential goods, majorly for being supplied for the goods carrying vehicles and ambulances, etc. So we were operating, then we were operating on a sort of roster. But for a couple of last, I would say since August of this year, we are back to work 100%. That's the current situation.
So what about the manufacturing facilities? Because you said you're part of the essential services for ambulances, etc. So in the plan that you prepared, the hybrid work plan, those employees who can work at home, you've given them the facilities. What happens to the manufacturing plants?
So in manufacturing plants, if I recall way back in April of last year, so because 100% of the workforce was not allowed to enter the plants, and even those who were coming were issued special passes, and a special company transport was made available to them to pick them from houses and bring them to the manufacturing plants. And even we had specific arrangements with social distancing managed for some of them to stay back who were coming from outside. Because if you remember at that point, even inter-district movements were not allowed. And in some cases, intercity movements were also not allowed. So, so what we did, we were not up to 100% production capacity. We were not able to utilize, but yes, we were trying to optimize with a fraction of the workforce, whatever we could. So that was the modus operandi then. And if something comes again, probably we will have to switch back to that again.
All right. So now manufacturing is full strength, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, you're not looking forward to the lockdowns, but you can't help it because if there is a public emergency, you have to comply. So how are you planning your business continuity plan in case there is another lockdown, maybe sometime in January?
Actually, luckily, I would say, means we had the framework already in place. GKIT has got certified for BCMS, which is Business Continuity and Management Services, which is ISO certification 23001. We got certified for it, I think 4 years back. And that framework is very robust and lets you plan in case of all those eventualities. Though pandemic was not written, it was majorly force majeure, but yes, pandemic has also become a part of force majeure itself. So we are prepared. And just to let you know, during these last, I would say, 21 months, starting end of March of 2019, even in these times, we never had even a second of a downtime from the perspective of the employees or anyone who wanted to get any information. So that came as a blessing in disguise because we were prepared earlier on.
All right. Now, as a manufacturing organization, have you implemented recent projects around RPA, especially since you described the the limitations on some movement of labor across cities or across districts? So, have you brought about any automation in your manufacturing, which is helping you in such a situation?
Yeah, from a RP perspective, the changes which the projects or the assignments that we are implemented are not shop floor specific, but are office specific. So we have implemented quite a lot of them. So we started again 3-4 years back. We started with automation of IT services. If you wanted to have your password reset, if you wanted to have a new person was joining, or whatsoever. So whatsoever IT related authorizations, rights, accesses were given, all of that has been automated using RPA tools. And we have even started hitting on some of the business processes like invoice processing, order taking, invoicing, etc. So all of them in a cyclical manner, we have automated using RPA. But per se, if you talk about manufacturing operations, means we have not been able to find a case where RPA can help, but automation per se using robotics, etc., is being put into play to automate some of the processes there.
Okay. And could you describe some of the automation processes you have taken up? Anything like AR, VR that you're using, or AI and analytics in any of your processes, manufacturing or otherwise?
Yeah, so AR, VR, we have just started, I would say, touching upon to use them for, not AR is majorly VR, which we are trying to use for trainings. And in AI ML, we have had a good handle on it. So one of our projects, which is called Digital Claims, is a marquee offering in the Tyre space. So what it has done is it uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to predict the tires which come as under claim for warranty. So earlier it used to take 5 to 7 days for the customer to get his tire replaced in case it's a manufacturing defect. Now you would be amazed to see that now we are able to do that in less than 70% of the cases. A customer gets a tire replaced within 5 minutes, and in 90% of the cases, it's lesser than 15 minutes. So you can just imagine the delight a customer would have, because he had a tire which had a manufacturing defect. So now that getting replaced within minutes. So this is bringing a really wow. Apart from it, we are using AI and ML for multiple advanced algorithms to crack the golden batch at the shop floor in the manufacturing process, and other important things we have been able to crack.
All right. Looks like predictive analytics is working for you. Any other processes where you're planning to use more of analytics? It could be supply chain, it could be customer experience, anything else that you've identified?
Yeah, a couple of them are already identified. One is obviously the improved forecasting, because looking at this pandemic and the perils that supply chain is going through. So we are using it to predict better forecast so that we can produce accordingly. We don't produce a tire which is not needed in the market, and make it available at appropriate point in the supply chain so that the customer gets in time, and as JK we don't lose any sales. So we are working on these areas in supply chain as well as forecasting. And we are also looking forward to improve manufacturing efficiency, to improve the overall equipment efficiency, to improve the productivity of the employees in the manufacturing space. And this is just the beginning. And we have a laundry list of multiple items that we plan to do in next couple of years.
Okay, so let's quickly go over some of these. You spoke about supply chain. Now, we're seeing supply chain outages once again. First, we saw when initial outbreak of the pandemic happened, in a lot of supply lines from China were affected. Now we're seeing bottlenecks in the number of large ports. So could you tell us how this predictive analytics in supply chain is going to work? Plus, if you're going to keep your inventory management, cutting it so close, do you think you could also lay yourself bare to sudden demand spurts and not being able to then fulfill them? Do you see those risks as well?
Yeah, taking the last part of your question, yes, that risk is there, and it would be unfair to say that we can cover all of them.
Even with your predictive analytics? Even
with the predictive analytics, we can reduce the loss of sales, the loss of missing out to an extent, but not 100%.
Okay.
So what's happening, because the situations we are in are quite different from what it used to be in the normal days. So because, as you know, any predictive algorithm draws from the past history and then tries to build the future prediction. And nobody had seen these sort of disruptions happening. But we not restricted to that. So we are able to get improved ETAs of our incoming materials or outgoing materials at any place using predictive analytics. And it's improving. I can't say by the day, improving by the month. We won't be able to certainly reach 100%, but probably in a couple of months, I think that overall industry will find algorithms so that we can be at a say level of 80 to 90% accuracy.
All right. Let's talk about some of the IT infrastructure. I'm sure you are using cloud, and some of your infrastructure is on the cloud. Could you describe what is it like for you? What would you say is, are you doing public cloud? Are you doing private cloud? Is it a hybrid model? Could you describe your cloud services?
Yeah, cloud has come as a savior to all the organizations. So a couple of years back, we were just on the private cloud. Then we started using public cloud also for some of the applications which needed more flexibility in terms of infrastructure, which would scale up for a couple of days, then would have to be scaled down. So it made no sense to invest in those infrastructure on-prem. So when I said private cloud has been our savior, as I talked about that, we never had even a second of downtime. That was because all of the servers were co-located in a private data center, who had the expertise and even all the permissions to run their data center operations despite of all the pandemic situations and the lockdowns. So that's for the base ERP systems and other systems. And we have been using public cloud for multiple SaaS offerings, as well as we have been building multiple partners facing applications on the public cloud. So, and then I can say we have a mix of public, private as well as hybrid cloud in place for us.
All right. And what about cybersecurity? Because you said that when you talk about preparedness, that you mentioned cybersecurity. Are you also creating awareness amongst employees about important safety parameters and how they can be prepared?
Yeah, again, so here also another good thing that happened that we embarked upon in 2015 was getting ISMS certified, which is 27001. I'm calling out these certifications per se because they provide you a framework which lets you do things in a very organized way. So as part of that, employer awareness is an integral part of that ISMS certification. So we keep on sending multiple handouts through emails and other mediums, as well as keep on sending dummy phishing mails, etc. And try to, and if we evaluate the users who would click on these links and then do a focused group training for them. So cybersecurity, we all have to remain prepared, but you never know when the attacker from where it would come, because these zero-day vulnerabilities, people do say that they are very easy to control, but sometimes you get into them. So for that, what we do is we keep most of our important information into our demilitarized zone. So that keeps our information intact. But you can be prepared, you can do all the awareness, but still you have to be alert.
Right. Have you felt or seen that there were more breaches or cybersecurity concerns were heightened because of this hybrid working? Because, you know, the entry points are now multiple.
Luckily, we never had such a situation, because what we did when we allowed the BYOD policy, so with by taking employees' consent, what we did, we created a sort of office space on his or her machine, so that, and applied all the office applicable policies there. So we remained protected by that sort, and we didn't face any additional sort of breach or any sort of breach even in the hybrid working.
Okay, you were lucky that way, because you know, during this time we have seen so many hacking incidents, and you know, public utilities getting hit, supply chain, you know, providers getting hit. So just wanted to check, and we're glad to know that you know, you're sending the reminders to the employees to be more alert. Now, you know, after what happened over the last 2 years, is the top management more sensitive of the role of IT and technology per se? Is your top management, the CFO and the MD, you know, more appreciative, and do they understand the true value of IT now?
It's the other way around for us. So our top management is more awakened and even more enthusiastic about having digital in place since years. Means I joined in 2014 JK Tyre. Since then, my management was after me. What better can we do for digital adoption of JK Tyres? How can JK Tyre become a digital first organization? So that way, I would again say that my management has rather been following up with me and trying to do things in more digital ways to make it less dependent on people, rather more automated processes, more process-oriented ways. So they understand the importance equally. If you look at even at our annual report 2 years back, so our management talked about digital in a big way. So again, you can say I'm lucky.
But Mr. Agarwal, why, you know, that question comes up is because, you know, traditionally IT is seen as a cost center. You know, people only go to IT when there is a problem. कि चल नहीं रहा है system, help कर दीजिए, क्या कर सकते हैं? They were seen more as a support function. And, you know, at a time when the first wave happened, the lockdowns were severe. There were worries about economic growth and, you know, profitability. At that point in time, people didn't want to spend. They wanted to cut back on what they thought was unnecessary. So do you think that, your organization now considers IT differently? Do you think organizations consider IT at all as a profit center versus what was a cost earlier?
No, actually, I think the concept has changed because earlier, if you go back a couple of years, people were thinking of making IT a profit center rather than a cost center. But now it has evolved into a value center. So it is bringing business value to all these stakeholders. And yes, when the pandemic hit down, the budgets for most of the functions were reduced. We got a supporting hand from all of our partners who extended whatever help in monetary terms they could by either extending the term of the subscription, term of the licenses, or by providing us resources at a bit lesser cost. But importantly, this one thing that I like to tell everyone, because I was also talking about a similar thing in one of other discussions. For JK Tyres, the IT budget rather increased during the pandemic, which would be an exceptional case. So the importance of IT and digital. So just one more thing. So here, as you see, my designation now is CDIO. So we rechristened our department from IT to digital and IT solutions. So you can just see the way organization sees this function. So it used to be system management service at some point in time. So the evolution talks about the management's mindset and even all the employees and internal stakeholder mindset towards digital and IT as a solution provider.
So it may be a little personal question, but then I want to ask you, how much did you have to weigh in on the top management? Did you have to guide them? Did you have to show them the value? Or, because, in a number of organizations, the top management is not really aware of IT and the role it can play. It's very technical. You can't blame them. But you as a CDIO, are you leading in on the management? Are you trying to influence them? How do you keep up with, the latest and how it could apply to your company?
Yeah, ideally it's imperative on our function to know the value it can provide. So you need to keep on guiding them. But importantly, good thing with our organization is they don't stop us from playing with newer technologies, from exploring newer technologies. So whenever newer technology is there, means currently, if we talk of all the current or would-be technologies, blockchain is the only technology we have not laid our hands on as still. But if you talk about AR, if you talk about advanced analytics, ML, AI, RPA, each and everything. So our management had been gracious enough not to come in between, to stop any of the explorations. And most of these explorations have paid results. So we start small, do a pilot, and if that's successful, we go and with a lateral deployment across. Means you would be amazed to know that even before my joining in 2012, our company was able to extract data from machines and make it talk to the ERPs and all other things. We had a predictive sort of maintenance system built in them when this concept of IIoT or Industry 4.0 was more of a concept in India. So the management has been progressive and they understand things. And some of the times, if we feel that still for us also, sometimes we are exploring, so they would let us explore, they would let us play and find value for the organization. That's why I said that this function has become a value driver now.
Okay, so you're lucky that everybody in your company seems on board on adopting your technologies. So you said that blockchain is something that is a technology that you haven't applied yet, but going ahead in the years ahead, 2022, let's just say the next 1 year, what are the new projects that you're planning? And could you give us the examples of the usage of AR, VR in your company?
Yes, so some of the projects, as I talked about, we have a lot of advanced analytics, ML and AI based projects specifically targeted towards the manufacturing plants that we have planned, like improving the OEE, improving the productivity, improving the utilization of consumables, power, electricity, and other steam, air, etc. So this is one of the area. Apart from them, we are trying to do improved forecasting, ML-led forecasting for a better accuracy, improved supply chain efficiency. These are multiple projects. And for 2022, I feel that blockchain would be one area for all of the organizations to start thinking on. So where I personally feel that blockchain would have to become sort of a state-sponsored technology, wherein all of the things happens at the top, and you keep on doing your very company-related things in your systems. But it becomes a universal ledger for all the organizations, be it related to government, be it for your suppliers, customers. So that's my thought.
But that will take a lot of stakeholders to come and agree. Do you see that consensus being made as early as 2022?
So, but the seeds will certainly be sown in 2022. That's my personal thought. But you never know. I'm more of an optimistic person. So even if we lay seeds of that, and that can be built, not just the complete process. I was just having another discussion about the GST on a GST panel. So there are multiple ideas related to blockchain and services which can be universalized and provided to all the users using newer technologies. So there are multiple things that can be adopted.
Okay. Could you also give us examples if you used any of the newer technologies for training and for shop for hands-on internships, etc.? Anything that you utilized there?
No, obviously, one of the things was we had to, I would say, fit our curricula so that we can do an online training. So during the last lockdown, we conducted more than 10,000 hours of training in multiple areas with that 10,000 into 100,000 user hours being there. The content had to be modified to be more online friendly. And as we discussed, a bit of virtual reality, we are trying to build in machine related training. And we are also evaluating whether we can go for sort of real AR and MR for technical trainings at the shop floor, but it's still in, I would say, we are exploring it. We are still not there, but probably in 2022, we might be able to reach there.
Right. And if you're have the freedom to tell us, could you tell us who are the partners that you work with? Are you working with multiple partners? Do you work with a few and then look to expand the work already being done? Could you give us some clues there?
Yeah, we don't limit ourselves to working. We work with tier 1 partners, the best in class. We work with the startups, and even we have tie-ups with certain academia who keep on providing us with the ideas. So our list is open to all, anyone, any organization, big or small, that can give us an idea that that will increase the business value for JK. We are open to work with any of the organizations. And I think that is one of the success factors that's helping us reach till here.
Right. Now, you did say that blockchain was a technology that you are looking forward to in the years ahead. Any other that you would like to see more of in your company, in our country, in the world? Yeah,
obviously, one of the things is that everybody is focusing on core modernization. Some are at say halfway, some are at 75% way. So that would be the foundation that everybody has to set up correctly for the times to come. But there are 3 areas. Means if we talk about interaction, now we are all talking about digital experience. So in the times to come, people will have to reach the state of digital reality and rather an ambient experience. So idea would be to have simplicity is there. And if we talk about information, data and analytics using ML AI is already there. So what I personally feel is that exponential intelligence would be so much embedded in the systems. It may not just happen in 2022, but may take a couple of years so that it becomes omniscient. And computation, we have been talking about clouds, distributed platforms, and we may reach a state of having a exponential computation available at fraction of our cost. Means computation would be abundant without anyone having to worry about the cost. So, and obviously the last but not least is the from the cyber regulatory and ethics part with the new PDP bill already coming into picture. So these are some of my thoughts for the times to come.
Right. You did speak about costs. So for your company, do you see the budget significantly higher, your IT budget, or nearly the same? What about that? And are boards now comfortable with the IT budgets as well?
So I see our budget spend going higher in the times to come, because what we have seen is the higher we spend, the better value we are able to table for the organization. So I can't say that it would be increasing by 20% or 50%. So wherever important use cases we are able to find, we will get those budgets certainly.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal, for joining us today and sharing with us your perspectives on the technologies that work for your company, what you're looking out for, and how prepared your company, JK Tyres, is for any eventuality now that we are in a new phase of a pandemic where another variant, Omicron, is around the corner and raising concerns for businesses, for everybody regarding health and well-being. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ms. Nayat. Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure interacting with you. Take care. Bye-bye.
So that was Mr. Agarwal joining us on CIOTV to talk about the IT preparedness of the company and the plans that they have in the years ahead. We'll wrap it up here, but you stay tuned to CIOTV. We will bring you many more interactions with top technology leaders at companies to find out their plans in the years ahead. Stay tuned.
Okay.